All right, guys. So Greg Abbott, he's the governor of Texas. A lot of you guys already know him. Now, he's saying that Biden is not taking on Texas, but he's actually taking on the United States of America.
Biden is not taking on Texas. Biden is taking on the United States of America.
Now, half of America is already standing up against the Biden administration, right? And he's saying that we're in imminent danger. He also says that he's taking on the Constitution itself, and that this Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Now, you guys let me know if you guys agree with that.
The Constitution itself is the supreme law of the land.
The president is the one who has taken action to deal with this, while House Republicans do not.
If Joe Biden federalizes our National Guard, that would be the biggest political blunder. Half of America now is standing against the Biden administration. We are in imminent danger.
Here with more, Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Governor, first, I applaud your efforts. You've been on this show many times. You've tried convoys. You have done everything humanly possible. So your state, with its constitutional right, has put up the razor wire. They take you to court on that. And now they set up a confrontation between your National Guard and federal border troops. Now, I don't think either side of that equation wants to be enemies. They're all on the same side, aren't they?
They are, and as you pointed out, and as Border Patrol Council and Border Patrol members have made clear to Texas and to myself, they want to have nothing to do with regard to tearing down that razor wire or tearing down the barriers that Texas has erected, for one simple reason.
Now, it is all time that we just kind of talked about this here, right? So Texas as a state, it's pretty much squaring up against the entire United States government, right? And you heard this right, guys. So basically, it's a modern day setup for a potential civil war scenario about to take place. Now, here's a lowdown. So basically, you got the Biden administration. They're playing hardball with Texas. They're kind of nudging them, trying to see what they're going to do. And Texas, on the other hand, they're basically standing their ground, and they're telling the federal government, they're telling Joe Biden that he can go stick it. And that's basically what's happening. They're standing their ground. They're telling Uncle Sam to back off, especially when it comes to the National Guard. And you've got multiple states backing Texas on this one. In fact, you already heard from Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. He is ready to send troops over to Texas to support Governor Greg Abbott in this quest to protect the southern border. Now, and Texas is like, hey, talking to the federal government, talking to Joe Biden. And again, I swear, this is all because it's a presidential year that they're making such a big deal about this, right? That President Joe Biden is really pushing this thing. Texas is like, hey, trust us. You don't want to tangle with our finest. So it's almost like Texas is not playing the role of one of the 50 states. It's almost like Texas wants to become their own country, or at least divorce itself from the United States in the stance that it's taken, right? So anyway, so Texas is up against a lot right now, and it's not just within the borders. A lot of dramas kind of unfolding, stuff that's happening worldwide, basically, right? But you got, basically the Democratic Party, they're kind of pushing President Biden to kind of like step up in this Texas situation, because again, he wants to get reelected. Democratic Party wants him to get reelected, so they're kind of like they're leveraging this for almost free publicity and advertising, right? Anyway, it's almost like a strategic business move. But most of these politicians, they're entrepreneurs, they're investors. They understand how marketing and advertising works, right? And what do they say? Any publicity is good publicity, even if it's bad, right? So basically, President Joe Biden's basically on the minds of a lot of people. But here's where it gets real interesting, right? So it isn't just about the politics, guys. It's about me and you. But the question is, what does this mean for the average Joe? Like, how is it going to affect our average, day-to-day lives, right?
And that's because they are working. Border Patrol says that what Texas has done to secure the border actually makes their job even easier. The only resistance we're facing is coming from Joe Biden. Know this, Sean, and that is Joe Biden is in violation of federal law that already exists. For one, he is not living up to his duty to deny illegal entry across the border. Instead, he's aiding that illegal entry.
President Joe Biden, Texas, it's a whole lot of drama. You see, the Democrats are pushing Biden to do something. So he feels like he has to do something, right? Now, check this out. So Texas's own lieutenant governor, Dan Patrick, he basically got asked, are Texas and the United States heading for a Civil War showdown? And boy, does this have a response, right? So basically, he's all about defending the rights of the Texans, protecting the country. He's very proud of the job that they're doing, right? And he's like, hey, our National Guard, our DPS, they're top notch. Why would Biden even think of stepping to them, right? And it goes even deeper than this, guy. So Patrick basically throws down the gauntlet, and he's basically saying, hey, the worst move that the Biden administration could do is to just mess with Texas. You know what they say? You know what the phrase is? Like, everything's bigger in Texas is one. But the other thing is they always say is don't mess with Texas, right? So basically, don't mess with Texas law enforcement or their National Guard, especially at the border where they're basically doing what the American people want them to do. But here's the kicker. So people are wondering, why hasn't President Joe Biden declared a national emergency over this thing, right? Now, some people are whispering, but, you know, did he stir up this border crisis on purpose? A lot of people are saying, hey, 2024 presidential election, if you can create a problem that you already have a solution to, this could easily be used as leverage come election time, right? Now, it kind of makes you scratch your head when you think about it, right? So now, when you step back and you really look at this thing, right, you know, it's kind of how things are playing out with this whole border situation with the Biden administration. You got to remember, guys, how former President Trump, he was really quick to declare a national emergency during the pandemic. He didn't, you know, I mean, it's not like he did it on day one, but he's pretty quick about doing it, right? So a lot of people are saying, well, what's the deal now? It's not like, you know, we already saw what President Trump was able to do back in 2020, right? So why doesn't President Biden do that here in 2024, right? So there's a whole lot of shaking up going on right now. The word on the street, though, is we might see some action from Congress later on this week, right? And if we do, that could be a big, huge game changer. And so we're going to wait and see what Congress gets out the door. They're talking about this new bill. But just the other day, something else went down. So, and it's got President Joe Biden on high alert. So I don't know if you guys know about this, but in the Middle East, over in Jordan, there was this big drone attack, right? Very heavy stuff, guys. Basically, 3 U.S. troops lost their lives. 30 people got wounded. It was a big, huge mess over there. Very serious situation, and definitely something to keep an eye on. So anyway, I brought this up a few days ago, and it's really starting to heat up. So the big question on everybody's mind right now is, when's the U.S. going to hit? When is the United States going to hit back? When is the U.S. going to hit back on this recent attack, right? And what's ultimately going to be the fallout from all of this, right? There's always going to be some fallout, but just to what extent is there going to be, right? So, you know, basically, the Biden administration, they're kind of playing a little tongue-in-cheek here, real close to the vest. And they're basically saying that they're going to respond, but they're not going to share the details. So those are still up in the air. I guess, you know, from a retaliation standpoint, you don't really want to announce to the public, because your enemy could be listening to what you're going to do next. So not only do they not want to share the information with us, more than likely, they probably just want to also kind of keep the enemy at bay and not give the enemy any type of advance warning on what that strategy might be, on what they're going to do in return. Now, here's where it gets a little bit more tangled up for Texas. So with the administration's eyes locked in on the Middle East, it feels like Texas is almost getting ignored at this point. And, you know, a little over a week ago, there was this big buzz about lawmakers trying to like whip out any old kind of bill that they could. Because they want to show the voters, hey, look, guys, look at what we did for you guys. Look what we did for you. Vote for us. We need the Democratic vote, right? But here's a real kicker. Like, how can anyone stay focused on the immigration crisis if the bill that they're cooking up doesn't even stand a chance, right? Congress seems pretty confident about passing something, but it probably won't be about the southern border or about resolving the border crisis, right? What they got their sights set on right now is something totally different. And it's probably going to be this child tax credit bill, but I'm going to share that with you guys in another video. If you appreciated the updates, definitely hit the like button for the video. Consider subscribing to the channel. I really do appreciate you guys always sharing my videos. It means the world to me. And I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. Please be safe.